I took my undefeated deck from my last tournament video and brought it to the big Top Cut monthly tournament to see if I could go undefeated and win it all again. Think I could do it? Let's find out. Before we get into that, I want to thank you all so much for the explosive growth the channel has seen since getting started. Surpassing 1,000 subscribers, let alone doing it this quickly, was honestly a pipe dream in my opinion, and it's so cool to see it happen and to be able to form a community with you all. With that said, I'm super excited to announce 2 new channel sponsors with discount codes for all of you to use in Noozle3D as well as Bays and Bricks. You can now use code WIZARD at Noozle3D as well as Bays and Bricks for 10% off Noozle3D purchases as well as 8% off Bays and Bricks purchases. And every single time you use that code, it goes back to directly supporting this channel. These are both companies that I have been using as a customer since I first began my Beyblade X journey. Noozle3D's parts that they supply for dual testing as well as bay displays and so much more have been vital to my Beyblade X experience starting off as great as it has. I particularly love their dual launcher links, which lets you launch your Beyblades 2 or even 3 all at the same time, which is exactly what I used in my 500 Scorpio Spear launches video, which I'll link down below. I've also used their Beyblade display stands with the iconic X logo as the floor piece to display my favorite Beyblades on my shelf behind me. It's really awesome. And they've also added a launcher level that can attach to your launcher and help you get precise, accurate angles on your launch every single time. And my testing wouldn't mean anything if I wasn't able to get my hands on the latest and greatest Beyblade products directly from Takara Tomy and Hasbro through Bays and Bricks. Their shipping time is elite, their customer service is incredible, and they always have the latest and greatest products immediately after the announcement for you to order. Thank you again to the new sponsors of the channel, Noozle3D and Bays and Bricks. You guys are awesome. Remember code WIZARD, W-I-Z-A-R-D, for 10% off Noozle3D as well as 8% off Bays and Bricks. Every time you use those codes, you're directly supporting the channel in some of the best ways possible. So really appreciate you keeping that in mind, spreading the word, telling your friends about how awesome these shops are, using code WIZARD when you shop. And with that being said, let's jump into the tournament video. Now, if you didn't catch the last tournament video I did, the deck that I'm using today is Wizard Rod 160 Hexa, Phoenix Wing 360 Low Rush, and Nightmail 660 Rush. I talk a little bit more about my theory and thinking behind this deck in my last tournament video, which I'll link down below. But for now, let's go into Swiss. There's 7 rounds. It's first of 5 points each round. Let's get started. So for round 1, my opponent is running a strong stamina Wizard Rod with 960 Hexa, an interesting glass cannon with Impact Drake 460 taper, and the classic Phoenix Wing 160 but on low flat. We're off to a strong start with a late dink into the extreme finish zone onto their Phoenix Wing. Next, I'm showing my 160 supremacy as my rod outspins his on the 960 Hexa. My Phoenix Wing is able to survive the first few tough hits from Impact Drake, and it was basically over as soon as that storm passed. With that win, we head into round 2 versus Wizard Rod 960 Ball, Aero Pegasus 360 level, and Phoenix Wing 160 low flat. I start off with my Nightmail versus his Phoenix Wing, avoiding his first insanely strong X dash with my Tungsten drop, but unfortunately the timing works out where he's able to follow up and push me into the extreme zone after dodging my counterattack. Here we have another reverse extreme dash from my rod that served me so well in the last tournament. It helps me avoid the biggest hits from Aero and outlast him. My Phoenix Wing struggles to make early contact, giving him the spin finish here. In the next rod off, my 160 Hexa ends up showing a bit of its aggressive potential with a burst on his 960 Ball. My Nightmail deals an extremely powerful hit early on, but it's into the side of the stadium, and Arrow's counter is better positioned to knock me into the pocket and out of the round. With a score of 1-1 so far going into round 3, I'm a bit shaken, but I'm trying to get my head back into the game. Going up against Drawn Buster 160 Low Rush, Wizard Rod 960 Hexa, and Tyranno Beat 760 Low Flat. I start off with my Nightmail against his Drawn Buster, and I'm able to deal with the initial barrage of attacks. I put him in the pocket, which he escapes, and then I get him right back in there with ease. My Rod, unfortunately for him, gets an easy win against his Tyranno Beat, with brief contact at the beginning into a self-KO by the Tyranno Beat into the extreme zone. Kind of a nothing burger of a match, but it happens, so on to round 4. For round 4, we've got Phoenix Wing 160 Low Rush, Cobalt Dragoon 560 level, and Tyranno Beat 760 Unite. I start again with Nightmail, and I'm able to pocket Tyranno Beat with a lucky recoil off the back wall. Then I pit my Rod against his Cobalt Dragoon. Unfortunately, I get knocked into the pocket super early though, after a few consecutive hits along the rail. Our Phoenix Wings take flight, and it's looking in my favor due to the 360 Ratchet being slightly more balanced, but unfortunately he has a smidgen more stamina and spin, and takes it.
Oh, we're back.
My Wizard Rod manages a rare feat, and thanks to the powerful launch as well as a well-placed reverse dash to avoid some of the Dragoon's hits, I'm able to outspin his Dragoon on level. The score's tied up, and my Nightmail unexpectedly closes it out against his Phoenix Wing with a few solid hits and a precision-calibrated extreme finish mid-match. Going into round 5 versus Wizard Rod 960 Hexa, Nightmail 760 Rush, and Whale Wave 160 points. I pit my Nightmail against his Whale Wave to kick things off, fighting back against the heavy recoil with my own, and having the stamina to outlast that glass cannon. Another Rod battle that finishes pretty quickly due to an unfortunate hit off the X-Rail where I bounce out of the stadium. My Phoenix Wing takes on his Nightmail, and unfortunately I fall due to the same offensive capabilities from Nightmail that make me run it in the first place, getting extreme finished and losing that match. Going into round 6 versus Wizard Rod 560 point, Nightmail 360 Low Rush, and Whale Wave 160 Rush. I start with my Wizard Rod against his Nightmail, almost falling victim to a recoil pocket finish, but bouncing out due to the strength of the 160 Ratchet, outspinning his Nightmail to take the first battle. In the inverse battle, piloting my own Nightmail into his Rod, I'm able to outlast his point bit and take the spin finish.
That is 2-0.
My Phoenix Wing takes on the heavy hitter in Whale, and unfortunately gets quickly pushed into the pocket. At the reshuffle, we get a Rod off, which ends in my favor after my slightly tilted 160 Rod is able to Ratchet snipe his Rod as it comes off the slope. We get a glorious Nightmail battle, but unfortunately early in the exchange, my Nightmail gets burst. With a score of 4-4 and a winner-takes-all battle, Phoenix Wing versus Whale Wave, I'm able to withstand more of the early hits without falling out of the stadium, resulting in a solid stamina finish win. We're here in the last round of Swiss with Phoenix Wing 160 Rush, Cobalt Dragoon 455 level, and Silver Wolf 370 Hexa. The first round puts my Nightmail against his Silver Wolf, and while it looked grim for a while as the battle lasted, my Nightmail gets a glorious extreme finish, a lucky one at that, towards the end of the battle, giving me a strong starting lead of 3-0. I removed my Battle Pass for the rest of this round as I didn't want it to get in the way of my opponent's launches when he might have some limited mobility. I pit my Wizard Rod against his Phoenix Wing and get a healthy spin finish win. Finally, it's my Phoenix versus his Dragoon, and I get an uneventful but joyous 5-0 win of the match to close it out and earn top 8 in Swiss with a top 32 cutoff.
Impressive. Yeah.
8, speak to Ryan.
In top 32, I'm feeling the pressure, but I'm determined to take my crown once again. Heading into Top Cut, we've got Wizard Rod 960 Free Ball, Cobalt Dragoon 360 Elevate, and Aero Pegasus 160 Level. I start with a bit of an unlucky pick with my Rod into his Dragoon Elevate, which ends as expected with a spin finish in his favor as my launch wasn't quite strong enough this time. I'm pitting Nightmail versus Pegasus this time, a very tough matchup for me, and unfortunately, I lose a bit of control, catch the X-Rail, and launch myself into the pocket. Feeling the heat now, and I'm hoping to turn it around with Phoenix into his Rod. Works out in my favor as I score a clean pocket and avoid the stamina battle. At the reshuffle, we get Nightmail against Pegasus once again, but this time I get a great immediate recoil and avoid the battle almost entirely. Next is my Rod versus Dragoon once again, and I am determined to launch with enough power to get a spin finish. Luckily, I didn't need it, as that power, angle, and combo nets me a pocket instead. I'm gearing up for the top 32 win with Phoenix into his Rod, but unfortunately as the battle drags on a bit, my drop launch doesn't effectively connect and I get dinked into the extreme zone, equalizing the score at 6-6.
Oh no!
A Rod battle to decide who goes home. I put my faith in 160 Hexa over 960 Free Ball. I throw my soul into that launch and it pays off, with Rod 960 Free Ball petering out while I have room to spare and enter top 16. Top 16 match, we have Cobalt Dragoon 455 Elevate, Phoenix Wing 160 Hexa, and Wizard Rod 960 Low Orb. I go with Nightmail to start it out versus Wizard Rod, and I get a good reverse dash drop launch, secure an incredibly powerful first hit that immediately chains into me forcing Rod to rail ride itself into a self pocket. An incredible start. Next is our Phoenix Wing battle with his 160 Hexa versus my 360 Low Rush. I'm able to knock him into the pocket, but he escapes. Not without losing most of his stamina though, leading to a great spin finish.
And he is out of there! Knocked him out!
My Rod versus his Dragoon on Elevate ends up quite surprising, with my Rod outspinning his Dragoon due to the power and combo being used. I love this Rod combo. Nightmail is up against Phoenix Wing now, with significant contact through the entire round. Nightmail on a more balanced 660 ratchet is able to stay up a bit longer than Phoenix for the spin finish.
For the double finish. Ooh, they are clashing. Nightmail fighting, Phoenix fighting, and they put it to sleep. That's down.
Now we have another Rod off, and instead of a boring spin finish, I decided to end it right here with a dink into the pocket.
Come on.
Big hit. Oh, in the pocket.
Let's go, dude!
On to top 8 with a 7-0 win in top 16. Top 8 is against Metis, and he is an incredible blader and knows my playstyle after judging most of my rounds in Swiss all day. I'm going against Drawn Brave / 360 Low Rush, his signature blade, Wizard Rod 160 Hexa, and Phoenix Wing 960 Rush. I start off with Nightmail vs Phoenix Wing, and I unfortunately take an early loss with an extreme finish. I pit my own Phoenix versus Metis Wizard Rod, which he launches with extreme finesse. My own reverse dash is beautifully executed, but it's not enough to knock him out, as the battle slowly turns into a spin finish in his favor. Now on his signature Drawn Brave, my Wizard Rod needs to hold out, and it does, giving me a spin finish and points on the board. Nightmail takes on Phoenix in the shuffle, but unfortunately, even withstanding most of Phoenix's early hits, the stamina loss from them leads to an outspin win for Phoenix. Next is identical Wizard Rod builds, and I feel good and a bit lucky that my Rod ends up scoring a clinical pocket versus Metis. I needed that. My Phoenix Wing goes against his signature Drawn Brave, and my life flashed before my eyes. Within the first full stadium rotation at the start of the battle, his Drawn Brave scores a calculated pocket off the back of the stadium, with my final spin moments feeling like forever as my prayers for a pocket escape drift into the void, along with my chances at the title, losing the match 3-7 to Metis and falling out of Top Cut. So today I was the bridesmaid, not the bride. making it to top 8 in Swiss and top 8 in Top Cut, but falling to the eventual champion of the entire monthly tournament, Metis, with his signature Drawn Brave / 360 low rush.
Trophy for Metis.
Wait.
You're not late. All right. Third place. Choose your prize.
I hope you enjoyed this tournament vlog. Let me know in the comments down below which play or moment of the video was your favorite. Thanks again so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe down below if you haven't already for the latest and greatest Beyblade X content in your feed. Also, don't forget code WIZARD at Bricks as well as Newsel 3D for 8 to 10% off your next purchase. That is an amazing way to help support the channel. Thank you again for watching. My name is Ryan with Anti-Wizard Wizard Club, and welcome to the club.